Touchscreen field monitors. Oh, the dream is a reality because we have the Feelworld F6 Plus over here. It's a 5.5 inch touchscreen field monitor. And if you're looking around at reviews, current reviews, a lot of them might complain that when you flip this over, because you can easily just flip this over on this L bracket, which is super nice. You can flip it over if you want to see yourself and flip it back over if you're shooting away from yourself. And the orientation wouldn't change. It would stay locked. It actually changes now. So when you flip it over, it's right side up on the other side. Flip it back over, and it's flipped itself over. So that is huge. Did a little bit of research, a little quick research, make sure I was interested in the product and it would be something beneficial to the viewers here. And yeah, you know, that was an issue, and I was like, surely to God they can address that, and they did before mine shipped with the a new firmware update. So kudos, good job. The resolution's 1920 by 1080 on here, so it's not a 4K monitor itself, but it can accept 4K. But it does pack 400 pixels per square inch, which is nice because like your super high-end phones are like 530 somewhere around in there pixels per square inch on your super high-end phones. So getting the 400 pixels per square inch on this should not feel too out of place. Another cool thing is it has 1/4 inch threads on top, bottom, and the side here on the monitor itself. So the L bracket will mount to the side of the monitor, and then it has a cold shoe mount here. And under the cold shoe mount is also a spot where you can actually mount this to a tripod or arm or something like that to hang over your rig if you've got a rig set up. But everything's pretty solid, rock solid on this thing. One thing to note, right here, you can see this bracket here. Whenever you're turning this like so, you're flipping it around, you're flipping it all kind of places. It can loosen up a little bit, nothing crazy, but just a little tweak. It's got a nice big fat thing here. Usually it doesn't loosen too bad, but when it does, you can just pop it forward just a touch, and you kind of get used to that. You kind of get a habit of using it, or at least I have. Here's the thing, if your camera does 4K out, because this accepts a 4K image, you're not going to have a weird delay. So there's not going to be this lag that exists between you using the monitor. Viewing angles are great on this thing. You can turn it sideways in all different ways, and it works great. You can see yourself in any situation. This, what is it, Andicen, something like that monitor, and then the Feelworld F6 Plus. They, you see a lot of comparison videos on YouTube, and it's almost, I hate to say it because a lot of reviewers I like have done these comparisons side by side trying to figure out which one's better than the other. They're the exact same one. To my knowledge, I found out where someone contacted Feelworld, and they said they make these monitors for Andicen. And the cool thing, or weird thing, I guess, is the charger itself is branded with Andicen on it. So it does lead me to believe that Feelworld is the manufacturer for it, and they just, you know, was running low or whatever and pulled from stock that they had with Andicen logo on it. So there you go. Feelworld makes them, and they're also cheaper. The Feelworld can be found cheaper. Also, this is cool too. It'll do 4K in and loop out. So basically that will create this live signal that can go to another device. So you have HDMI in, HDMI out. That is also for 4K support. So when you are running 4K out and you want it to go to an external recorder or daisy chain something together or whatever you got going on, it'll do a clean loop out and 4K out. So even though it's a 1080p monitor, you can run 4K in, it'll loop that right back out as 4K. So you shouldn't lose anything. So you've got multiple ways to power this thing as well. You've got DC out 8 volt, DC in 12 volt with some kind of weird adapter. But then you get the DC in 5 volt Type C with the current firmware update that I read off. That's where your Type C cable will plug into it, so you can use your existing phone charger and external battery pack and charge and run this thing with that via the Type C port, which is amazing because this thing's got a touch screen, a Type C port, angels are singing somewhere, because 2020 is the year of Type-C ports. We're done with the micro USB earplugs right there, headphone jack. So this thing's a powerhouse for less than $240 right now. Already, we're not even into what it can do, and it's looking sweet. This thing's pretty good. This is actually really good. I've got an aperture monitor that I used before this, which costs more than this one, and this little shade visor here, I can't think, is better. It's got a plastic frame that goes around that snaps on, and then this just velcros around it. Kind of hard, flexible plastic, but it's on here and not going anywhere, so you can kind of run and gun with this thing. Perfect size is 5.5 inches for that run and gun. It's not really too out of the way. This is about like a rig that you might have, and also, you know, you can mount your microphone, your boom mic or whatever up on top of this, because you've got a 1/4 inch thread on top. So really this is kind of like an arsenal right now, and yeah, it looks really good. I like it. So you want to know what kind of batteries it uses, but the cool thing is it's got built-in 2 battery plate, so you can use the Sony F970 batteries or the Canon LP-E6 batteries to power this. These are the Sony battery I have in here now. It works okay. You can also get the big fat ones. This is the little thin one there. And actually, I'll probably end up switching over to an external battery pack, because I have 10,000 milliamp hour and a 20,000 milliamp hour. I've got a lot of these external battery packs, so that could run it for an eternity. And you know, you could rig something up where you could strap that onto the back. The thing that I forgot to mention is this DC out 8 volt. You can actually connect this up to a dummy battery that would go in here, so it's not really a real battery, it's just a direct power supply. So you could connect this into this, have the dummy battery going into there, and power your camera from here, and then have an external battery here. You're cooking with a good rig. We got that 1000:1 high contrast ratio, the Rec 709 color gamut, and then you've got this 160-degree off viewing angle from that IPS screen here. So you're set up. There's no excuse why you can't get that perfect shot. I'm not using the cord that come with it. I'm using my own that I already had. I like the little curly Q cable, and then the nice little elbow here for the setup that I use it for. But the cables that they come with are great. So what you're going to do is double tap a roo, then you can push here. You got all your waves here. Boom, turn them on and off. You can see everything, your histogram, all that's there. All your good stuff through here, your individual things are there. Turn that back off, or you can turn on your individual things here. That's nice. Your vector, see there it is down there. Histogram right there. Focus assist, which is nice. Audio meter, love that. I'll leave that on. Zebra, your zebras, you can see them flapping around. You can just scroll up if there's anything else. You'll note you're at the bottom of the screen when you see the return. Monochrome, you can see it, I can. Red, green, blue, off, and then there's your false color. Type 1, type 2, off, and then there's your return. One of the things I'd like to see is sort of like a reset under each column here. So if I'm going to change this one, reset, I can go back, mess around. I don't like that. Right above return, let it be a reset. But you can see my audio kicking up there, and that's just through the camera. I don't have a mic on here, but double tap to get back. We'll go there. This is where we turn our grid on. You see the grid. Your safety markers. You can grow that out bigger, smaller, and then you get 16:9, and your aspect ratios, take it back to off. Your center marker right there. That thing. Marker matte. And then the color, you can change the color, what you want the things to be. And then return. Here's the LUTs. You can switch the LUT on or off. If you turn it on, you can go through your LUTs that come included, and then you've got your SD card. You cut that on, and then you pick out of your SD card your LUTs that you have, and the SD card slots under here. Go ahead and turn that off. But there's your different settings for the LUTs where you can kind of go in and change, fine-tune some of those LUTs that are there. That's nice. The settings, the wheel will control the backlight when it's just a screen. This wheel on the top, you can also press it down. It's a selector switch also. We got the backlight for the wheel, but our other options are volume and backlight. So that's the two options you got. Transparency. You can turn your transparency on so you can still see the screen even though the menus are on. Your firmware update shows you what you're running in your firmware. Give you some sort of idea. But everything looks bright and beautiful. And also you can swipe up from the bottom. You get focus assist, histogram. You can turn it on and off. You can turn on these little individual things. Those are there as well. So easy to grab, easy to get to settings. Pinch to zoom. Look around. That's great. Say, I love this touch stuff. You know, you're like, hey, am I in focus? You can only zoom in so far, but it's plenty to see kind of there if you're in focus or not. And it's quick. Just boom, 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 boom. You're done, you know. I love it. Overall, the Feelworld F6 Plus is a fantastic field monitor. It's great. It's hard to find anything wrong with it whenever you consider the price. Everything to do in the film world and all that is just overpriced because they don't move that much volume, it seems like, so the price is just astronomical. But also, you know, the Rec 709, everything looks good. I've had no issues with like the monitor versus what I'm showing on the back of the camera. It kind of I've never had anything goofy show up in my editing because my monitor is completely professionally calibrated. So I believe everything on this monitor, and everything syncs up correctly. Nothing. I've never found anything goofy. Again, you get in the box, of course, the monitor, the hood. You get the micro HDMI cable. You get the mini HDMI cable. You get the sunshade, which I just said. The tilt arm, the little L bracket thing. You get a manual, and then you get the F550 battery and a charger, and the cable, the micro USB cable to charge it. It's perfect size for run and gun. Exactly what you need out. It's bright enough. You can go outside. The sunshade's perfect. Get your face right in there and do some stuff. So make sure to explode on that subscribe button and ding that bell so you get notified on the next product review that I got coming out. This one was great. We've been lucking up lately, firing them off left and right. See ya.